Pablo Escobar was a Colombian drug lord, a narco-terrorist, and the Medellin Cartel's commander. He was dubbed the king of cocaine and became the world's wealthiest criminal. To get a sense of how strong he was, consider that his drug cartel monopolized the cocaine trade in the United States throughout the 1980s and early 1990s. His cartel controlled more than 80% of the global cocaine market. Regrettably, there is no clear indication of how much money he possessed. Despite this, Escobar's net worth is believed to be more than $30 billion according to Business Insider. He was so wealthy that Forbes named him one of the world's 10 wealthiest individuals. Stay tuned till the end to find out how he managed to make so much money. Pablo began his illicit career as a teenager. Pablo used to sell bogus diplomas, smuggle radio equipment, and steal tombstones to resell back then. Pablo also stole cars, which landed him in jail for the first time in 1974. Pablo had already started his drug career at the time. He got his start in the industry by assisting in the formation of the Medellin Cartel. The Ochoa brothers, comprised of Juan David, Jorge Luis, and Fabio, were Pablo's well-known cartel accomplices. Pablo was the organization's leader in the Medellin Cartel. He was in charge of a variety of tasks including cocaine production, transportation, and distribution. The Medellin Cartel controlled the cocaine trade in the 1980s. Pablo's wealth, politics, and criminality. For the 7th year in a row, Forbes ranked Pablo Escobar as the world's 7th richest person from 1987 to 1993. Pablo's net worth peaked at $3 billion in 1988. Year after year, the wealth continued to increase. Pablo was a powerful man with a lot of money. According to some reports, Pablo's net worth is estimated to be in the billions of millions. He also owned Hacienda Napoles, a 2,800-hectare plantation in Colombia. He created an artificial lake and zoo with giraffes, hippos, and camels, as well as football grounds and dinosaur monuments. Pablo, on the other hand, was seen as a hero. He supported various organizations that aided the needy, earning a title of Robin Hood. Pablo was able to obtain a substitute seat in the Colombian Congress in 1982 thanks to this notion. Pablo's altruistic image is tainted by his ruthlessness. Pablo is frequently involved in bribery and murder charges in addition to drug trafficking. Pablo assassinates numerous members of Cali's rival cartel. Many government officials, police officers, and citizens were also killed by Pablo. Pablo Escobar was a member of the Colombian Parliament's Council. The decision was made in order for him to fulfill his ambition of becoming president of Colombia. Pablo's criminal company was exposed by a politician who's also Colombia's Minister of Justice, Rodrigo Lara, after 2 years in Parliament. It was for this reason that Pablo ordered his men to kill Lara. The genius of Pablo Escobar's cocaine empire. Pablo Escobar's cocaine empire is well known for its brilliance. Pablo's business items, particularly cocaine, are distributed in a unique way. Pablo is the king of the dead of the Medellin Cartel. Pablo is the most experienced adventurer in the skies. He's the king of the water. Pablo has made $9 to $30 billion by shipping tons of cocaine from Colombia to the United States during the course of his career. Pablo and his cartel are reported to have been responsible for 80% of cocaine trafficking in the United States during the 1970s and early 1980s, according to a Burness article headlined "Explored the Guerrilla's Sky and Ocean." Behind the wickedness, Pablo maintained his majesty and rose to prominence in a variety of popular works, including literature, films, and television. Not without case, given that the character of Pablo is performed by actors such as Benicio del Toro, Andres Parra, Cliff Curtis, and Wagner Moura in the Netflix series Narcos. Pablo's first cocaine cargo to the United States was made in 1970 in a small plane, the Piper PA-18 Super Cub. He flew this plane for the first few years of his career. The Piper PA-18 Super Cub is a lightweight utility aircraft designed and manufactured by Piper Aircraft. The plane can take off and land from a distance of up to 300 feet. Because of its short length, the PA-18 Super Cub is suited for flights over rugged terrain. The PA-18 Super Cub is frequently spotted flying in remote places such as the African savannas or the South American rainforests. Pablo later flew with a Cessna plane. It's a civilian utility aircraft manufactured by Cessna Aircraft Company that is larger than the PA-18 Super Cub. The Cessna is equipped with a 180 to 210 horsepower engine as well as extra fuel capacity. Cessna, along with Carlos Leder Rivas and George El Americano Jung, two of his comrades, became a significant component in Pablo's cocaine business. In the mid-1970s, Pablo met the two. Pablo began flying his own Cessna cocaine to the United States at the time. Leder and George, meantime, had secured lane. Leder was reported to have extensive ties to the emerging Medellin Cartel at the time. George, on the other hand, is a network in the United States. The ocean was another realm Pablo explored. Pablo is claimed to have employed 2 remotely controlled submarines, according to the limited evidence available. Pablo is claimed to have obtained a submarine from the Russian Navy. Each submarine has the capacity to transport 1 ton of cocaine. Pablo utilized submarines towards the end of his life, which evolved with time, allowing him to increase his supply capability. Pablo's cocaine submarine, according to the most recent iteration, can transport up to 7 kilograms of cocaine. The submarines were not entirely submerged, according to reports. The submarine moves beneath the water surface, its cockpit and exhaust pipes protruding through the waves. Pablo's cocaine submarine was able to glide with a hardly discernible track. As a result of this, Pablo's cocaine submarine was believed to be built of wood and fiberglass. One of the factors that makes the Pablo cocaine submarine difficult to monitor radar is the substance. Let's return to Pablo's air operations. The state-of-the-art laboratory on a farm near the Venezuelan border is one of the most intriguing. In the accountant's story, Pablo's brother, Roberto Escobar, describes the laboratory as employing over 200 employees. They live and work in tiny cottages and wheels. When a plane approaches, the house is shifted to allow the plane to land on a runway beneath the laboratory. The laboratory will return to its original location once the plane has taken off. According to reports, the lab and others generate 5,000 kilograms of cocaine per week. Every kilo of cocaine costs Pablo $2,000 to process. Pablo would sell the cocaine to Letter and George for $22,000 as part of the procedure. The cocaine would then be sold to middle-class dealers for $60,000 by Letter and George. According to this computation, Pablo will benefit $8 million for every 400 kilogram shipment. Meanwhile, Letter and George each received $5 million. After Pablo, Letter and George each flew cocaine to the United States on their own. They paid chartered pilots $400,000 for each operations. The Medellin Cartel. The cartel was a hugely powerful terrorist-type criminal organization in Medellin, Colombia, that operated from 1972 to 1993. They began as a smuggling ring that later expanded to include cocaine trafficking in Bolivia, Colombia, Peru, Central America, the Bahamas, the United States, and Canada. The Medellin Cartel trafficked tons of cocaine, bringing around $420 per week. The cartel is alleged to carry around 15 tons of cocaine per day. Cocaine has surpassed coffee as the most exported product from Colombia. However, the cartel's activities were not limited to narco-trafficking. They've been accused of using violence for political purposes in fighting the Colombian government in an asymmetric conflict. They bombed, killed, and kidnapped people. There is no clear estimate of how many individuals were killed. However, other accounts suggest as many as 4,000. The wealth. The Medellin Cartel's boss grew extremely wealthy as a result of the cartel's massive profits. Forbes eventually placed Escobar in its list of the world's wealthiest people for 7 years. He was the owner of private planes, mansions, and even a prison. He had so much money that he had to keep it in warehouses and fields since spending it was impossible. The prison, La Catedral, was created as a result of Colombian officials allowing him to have it in exchange for handing himself in 1991. A nightclub, a waterfall, a soccer field, and a sauna were all part of the complex. Hacienda Napoles, a now famous tourist destination, was another property owned by Escobar. It was a lavish estate with a zoo, a tennis court, a sculpture park, a soccer field, and a large collection of antique and luxury automobiles. It also included a private airfield, a karting circuit, artificial lakes, and a bull ring. The estate is now owned by Colombia's government. Escobar's zoo has a fun or not so pleasant fact about it. There were 200 animals in total, including zebras, camels, elephants, ostriches, giraffes, and more. Except for 4 hippopotamuses, which grew to 40 by 2016 after Escobar's death, the animals were relocated to other zoos. They destroyed fields and scared the residents. As a result, Colombian authorities devised a plan to restrict the population of male hippos by castrating them. What would you do with all of this money? Let us know in the comments below. And that's all for today. If you enjoyed this video, then please like, share, and subscribe to our channel for more such exciting content. See you in the next video.